Alright, y'all. So I've been playing Nikke for a long time, and I want to, go back and revisit a character that, at once genuinely was considered a Z tier character. At least everybody said this character was going to be the first Z tier character, right? And it was just a character where you had to have been there to understand back in the days, and that is Dorothy, right? Dorothy is a character that realistically, even till this day, if you read her kit, she's very good, right? But the problem is that she's a burst 1 character, and in Nikke, realistically, you only need one burst 1 character. And back then, Litter existed, right? People were still using Dorothy when she first came out, but Litter did exist. So it was really between Dorothy and Litter, but then as time went by and we got more burst 1s, Dorothy just became more irrelevant. And I want to say now in 2025, she is probably at her peak of irrelevancy, right, in terms of gameplay, in terms of being used. And that's just because we have too many burst 1s that go over her guaranteed. Little Mermaid, Litter, the Rappies burst 1, D Killer Wife, and Rouge is guaranteed being ran with Cinderella, the best DPS in the game. So that is why Dorothy has lost her irrelevancy in terms of constantly being used. I'm sure people still use her if you're fighting a solo raid or union raid, but other than that, you're probably not using her realistically. Like, you're probably not using her. So we're going to be revisiting her today in 2025. So yeah, this is the team I got here. We have Guillotine here. I know this kind of just seems like a team that completely support Dorothy, which in reality it is, right? Dorothy is really, really good for bosses, right? Her whole thing was the brand effect. She is a character who really was meant to chuck HP down. Back in the day, she was very good for the train boss, and all that stuff, but she can do a lot of damage, right? I'm going to be using Helm as a main burst 1 or main burst 3 because she's a water DPS. Privity is here to help out Dorothy with her cooldown reduction, but I don't think we're going to need that as much. But I mean, with Helm, we probably will. And then Guillotine is here to just help out in general because we're water DPSs. So we're going to go in here, see what Dorothy is doing in big 2025 with the new buffers we have, right? Because remember, Crown came out a year, literally Crown came out a year after Dorothy, and by that point Dorothy was not even being talked about. Genuinely, by that point Dorothy was not being looked at, she was not being talked about. No. So yeah, but let's take a look and see what Miss Dorothy is doing here. So 2.5 million, right? So she has this brand effect, right? It says 10 million there. After 10 seconds, that 10 million is just going to be applied. So she's at 33 million now, and then when that brand effect goes off, which we just did, she jumps up to 40 million. And the thing is, she does this every burst rotation, and that's why against bosses, Dorothy was like, and now it's at 15 million because her buff is going up, right? Remember, the brand effect gets stronger based on your final attack and stuff like that. So the more buffs we're getting from Guillotine, Helm, Privity, Crown, whoever, the stronger Dorothy is going to be, right? And literally, like, it went from 10 million to 15 million. Is this gonna go to 20 million or something? Let's take a look. Or is this thing, it's went back to 10 million. So it's gonna probably be between 10 and 15 million. But yeah, literally, this character is a character that I would say if she was not a burst 1, or if burst 1s had more flexibility, I would say this character would have been up there, for sure, because she was a character who was really just like a cheat code in damage. Like, realistically, she was a cheat code in damage. So let's take a look and see what she's doing. We're at 196 million with this character. It's quite crazy, isn't it? And remember, her skill 2 is actually on a 20-second cooldown, but when you use her burst skill, it goes from 20 seconds to 2 seconds. So that against mobs, that's where she cooked. Against bosses with mobs, you're probably going to see her pop off, because she does the AoE on her skill 2 every 2 seconds. And you're in her burst skill you're going to be in her burst skill constantly. With Helm and with her own cooldown reduction, with Privity helping that out too, you're going to be in. And then you guys see our reload, like, you don't even see the reload button, you just reload, right? So with that, our cooldown reduction is guaranteed, right? And if I go back to Helm, our burst generation is a lot faster too. So yeah, I feel like Dorothy's the character that you could actually use today. I feel like you could honestly, like, I might bring back Dorothy. I'm going to be the person who brings Dorothy back, because you realistically could use Dorothy. You can use Helm, you can use Crown, you have your extra damage from Dorothy, your cooldown reduction, and if you are fighting a boss, you have a buff to damage with parts. Dorothy can clear with AoE, and then you have your two main DPSs, right? I think you can probably get something going on with that. Realistically, I do. I think so. So yeah, let's see. We got 402 million. The burst one. I'm gonna start using Dorothy more, because realistically, like, I know I wouldn't say Dorothy has fallen off. I wouldn't say like, oh, Dorothy just became a bad character. Like, I know I did the showcase of Modernia yesterday, and I wouldn't say Modernia became a bad character, but with all the burst 3s we have in the game, it's really hard to pick Modernia first, right? And Dorothy's kind of the same thing for Dorothy, but in reality, Dorothy kind of does cover a lot of the things you want for a burst 1. Cooldown reduction, buffs to an extent with damage to parts. Like, we can go against the Kraken team. I know it might be crazy, but we can go against the Kraken team, this exact same team. But then we just have 2 of the burst 3s for the Kraken and see how far we can get there, right? Because Dorothy's still doing damage, right? She's still chucking away HP from the boss, whether the boss likes it or not. We have cooldown reduction and AoEs, right? And damage to part is increased for, I believe, all allies, right? Yeah, when firing the last bullet during her burst skill, all allies get that, which is going to be helpful for Kraken. So we're going to go against that Kraken boss in a second, but 2.4 billion. I guess that's the highest I got for this. I don't actually aim for high scores and stuff like that, but sure. And she did 555 million, right? But then if you look at Crown, like, she's close to Crown, but at the end of the day, Dorothy's a burst 1 character, and that's my point. Like, Dorothy's a burst 1 character, so running Dorothy, you have a burst 1 doing that damage, which is quite good. Alright, so this is the team I'm going to use right here. It's the same thing, just with Dorothy. As actually my original team, it's literally just with Dorothy. And we're going to see how well this team can get to, right? The highest I'm able to get to with Kraken is stage 8. I think once I get my characters to level 400, which they are able to get to 400, I just haven't leveled them up in my synchro device. I have them at still. They will, you know, pop off more. And if I still have like work on a little bit of gear left for them, but yeah, I'm not too worried, because Dorothy's last bullet effect is going to be great here for the damaging to parts and stuff like that. And just doing damage in general to an enemy like this is like helpful. Just chucking HP every burst rotation, you're just chucking HP, whether that boss likes it or not. And it's a pretty good amount too, 14 million, like, you know, it's really nice, right? And remember, everybody builds up to that brand effect. So if Dorothy herself is unable to, like, you know, handle that brand effect, or like deal the 14 million herself, everybody's not damage in total contributes to that brand effect. Like, you literally just have to wait 10 seconds and it'll pop off. Delete these parts and stuff like that. I like getting rid of these quickly, because when that's up, a lot of the other characters who are not type advantage, you cannot do the damage. But yeah, Dorothy gets the last bullet in this effect. We get 50%. Everybody gets 50% damage increase to parts, which is good, because that's what we want, especially against the Kraken. So is Dorothy really usable? I would say so. Like, I feel like Dorothy is still a character that's still a godly character. It's just a character that's not being used, and that's just because there's other godly burst 1s as well. But like, you don't really have the option to like run around and play with different types of burst 1s on one team like you would want to, right? So that's realistically Dorothy's only excuse. But stage 5, no problem, right? Stage 5, no problem. We have cooldown reduction with this team. There's also, because we have our shield up already, I'm not worried about that. We have heals with this team. And there we go. This part I'm worried about, because Asuka is attacking, and Asuka's a bit like, yeah. Okay, let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, we got it. Yeah, if we can get to stage 7 with this team, I'll be pretty surprised. Generally, I think if we can get to stage 7 with this team, I'll be really surprised. Because the highest I can get with my main team that I have fully invested into is 8. Like that's the highest we can get to. 8, almost 9. So getting to 7 with a team like this would be quite crazy. I feel like personally. There we go. We're at stage 6 right now. Let's give it days. I don't know if we're gonna get to stage 7. Are we? Will we get to stage 7 with this team? I don't know. We have our shield up. I'm not worried about that. I don't think so. Well, maybe. Because now we're using Scarlet's burst skill. Oh no, we're not. Okay, it's fine. Okay, we have 5 more seconds. We're not gonna get to it. We're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get it. 5 more seconds to pop off, and we're so close though. We were very close to stage 7 with this team, which is something. So if you want to use this team, Crown died at the end there. If you want to use this team, go ahead and use this team. But you guys can 350 million free damage from Dorothy. I'll take it. So Dorothy 2025, very good in my opinion. Try it out. Your boy Zxous, I'm out. Peace.